the quantity of high-end professional cream of the crop athletes I test would be quite limited. Well, not limited, but quite low in regards to the percentage of overall testing. The time to get a test done is the time where you want to start. And getting your information early will make the training block a lot more successful, a lot quicker. So getting it done when you're at your lowest point, getting it done throughout your programming. Use what we do as an example. We do a 20-week program to Dublin. So we text you 20 weeks from Dublin, and then we text you 10 weeks later to make sure that our structure and our programming has gone the right way.
You, a good couple of years ago, you were down in St. College, and I was doing a course in endurance, and it was around 12, 13 weeks out for the marathon. I was training a bit towards it, and you needed a test volunteer to do it. And I was like, well, I'm training towards the marathon. You know, he has it right there. He gave me my training zones, everything I need to train. I am absolutely not doing it. I sat back down in the chair, someone else went up. So I was like, I can't do it. Just seeing him going through the stuff and all the rest. Like, I'm not putting myself out there. What if I, fail the treadmill, like quit too early and all the rest? And then I was listening to, a couple weeks ago, we had Helen at Nurture Anonymous on the podcast, and she talked about doing her zone 2, her easy runs. And you did the test with her, and you said she was actually running too slow. My question is, what is a zone 2 run?
So that's something about Mickey Fox as well. So when I got hold of Foxy, he was a 240 marathon runner, and he was very similar, that he was training too low in his zone 2. So this is another concept where people make the statement that zone 2 doesn't work or heart rate training doesn't work, because they use an algorithm that isn't specific to anyone. It's 220 minus your age multiplied by, like your shoe size, whatever hours sleep you've had. It's rubbish. It's a completely flawed system. And real simple examples to give you on that before I answer the question about what zone 2 is like how you're born affects your heart rate, i.e. were you emergency C-section or were you natural birth? Were you exposed to drink or drugs growing up? Was there stress in your life? How much caffeine do you have? How much do you sleep? But Mary and Joan are best mates and they're the same age, so they automatically think they should have the same heart rates. It doesn't work like that. We're all completely different. So zone 2 is a parameter or a zone of 2 heart rates. So I'm just going to make it up, or I'll give you my ones. My zone 2 was between heart rate 137 to 151. That's beats per minute. And that's where I know I'm going to perform optimally aerobically. So I'm going to be performing at my most efficient without entering into an inefficient state to be. So for everybody, it's different. So my zone 2 and your zone 2 is going to be different, but it's a performance marker that will limit the negatives associated with training anaerobically. And we cover both terminologies shortly, I would imagine. But it's an area that you'll be able to withstand, or you're able to perform for long periods of time.
So we sign up, we have our Garmin, and Garmin says zone 2 for Eric is 140 beats per minute. And I'm not going to lie, I did it for a full marathon block when I first got my new fancy watch and took it as gospel. And look, it did well. It probably put structure on training. It probably slowed me down when I wanted to go fast. It had its frustratingly slow runs. How important is it to be exact with it? And it is a range, and you've described the range there. It's better to be more exact for the individual, I suppose, but how important is it? Because when you go to the upper end of the threshold, say, and you cross over into that opposite zone, anaerobic, for me, I always remember the end means not very long. You're not going to last long as soon as you tip into that.
I like it.
How does that affect, I suppose? Because if 140 for me was the upper threshold and it was always in what's that going to do for me? And why is that element important in terms of the zone?
Sorry, I want to go back slightly though, just on the Helen statement. Zone 2 for Helen, as she said to you in the podcast, predicted for her, had her walking or had her jogging really, really lightly. So it was a real negative opinion or a negative feeling she'd have associated with running in this zone 2. So she wasn't able to do it because she felt like her gains were going to be very limited because she wasn't pushing on. Same with the Michael Fox situation, we told him to step it up. So using your threshold, and if you were to go, sure, look, what's a beat or two higher? What if I go 153? What if I go 155?